Sometimes people will dislike you before you've even given them a reason. You can be respectful, stay in your lane, treat them well, and somehow your presence still bothers them. Have you ever noticed someone suddenly becoming colder toward you even though you did nothing to them? No argument, no betrayal, no obvious mistake. So you ask yourself, what did I do wrong? But sometimes that is the wrong question. Because people do not only react to what you do, they also react to what you represent. Your confidence can expose someone's insecurity. Your independence can make someone feel unnecessary. And sometimes, simply being yourself can trigger something another person refuses to face within themselves. I am the Watcher, and here, in Shadow Insight, we look beneath the surface of human behavior, at the hidden mechanisms people rarely admit. Today, we will examine 3 reasons why people can hate you for no apparent reason. And watch carefully, because the third reason reveals something deeply uncomfortable about resentment, something that may completely change the way you understand certain people from your past. If you appreciate these explorations of human nature, subscribe to Shadow Insight, leave a like, and tell me in the comments. Have you ever felt someone begin to dislike you without ever understanding why? Let's begin. The first reason people may hate you for no apparent reason is simple. You remind them of something they wish they had. And the strange thing is, you may not even realize it. Maybe you are more confident than they are. Maybe people naturally listen when you speak. Maybe you have a relationship, a career, a social life, or simply a sense of inner peace that they secretly want for themselves. You never mentioned it. You never tried to make them feel inferior, but comparison does not need permission. Imagine 2 coworkers who get along perfectly well. Then one of them receives recognition, a promotion, more attention. Suddenly the other person becomes distant. The jokes become sharper, the compliments disappear, small mistakes are noticed more often. From the outside, it seems as if nothing happened. But something did happen. The balance changed. Have you ever noticed how some people support you easily until you begin to succeed? As long as you remain at their level or below it, you feel safe to them. But the moment your life begins to reflect something they want for themselves, your presence can become uncomfortable. Not because you attacked them, not because you changed, but because every time they look at you, they are reminded of the distance between where they are and where they wish they were. And sometimes, instead of confronting that feeling, it is easier to dislike the person who caused them to feel it. The second reason people may hate you for no apparent reason is more subtle. You trigger something in them that they are trying to hide. Jung believed that people often bury the parts of themselves they do not want to face. Their insecurity, their fear, their weakness, their unfulfilled desires. But those parts do not disappear, and sometimes another person brings them back to the surface. Have you ever met someone who seemed strangely irritated by a quality in you that was not actually harmful? Maybe your confidence was called arrogance, your boundaries were called selfishness, your silence was called weakness, your ambition was called obsession. The reaction seems excessive because often they are not really reacting to you, they are reacting to what your behavior awakens inside them. A person who struggles to say no may resent your boundaries. Someone who abandoned their own ambitions may mock yours. Someone who constantly seeks approval may feel threatened by your independence. This is projection. Instead of confronting an uncomfortable part of themselves, people sometimes place that discomfort onto someone else. And suddenly, you become the problem. Not because of what you did, but because your presence makes it harder for them to avoid something within themselves. Most people never realize this. Sometimes the strongest reactions you receive reveal less about who you are and more about what another person is desperately trying not to see. The third reason is perhaps the most uncomfortable. Sometimes people begin to hate you when you stop being useful to the version of you they created in their mind. At first, they may genuinely like you, but look carefully at why they like you. Maybe you always agree. Maybe you are always available. Maybe you apologize first. Maybe you allow disrespect to keep the peace. As long as you play that role, everything seems fine. Then one day, you change. You say no. You set a boundary. You stop explaining yourself. You no longer chase their approval. And suddenly they say, "You've changed." But have you ever wondered why your growth can feel like betrayal to someone else? Because some relationships are built on an invisible balance of power. One person gives, the other expects. One person stays quiet, the other becomes comfortable. And when that balance changes, the person who benefited from the old version of you may experience your freedom as a personal attack. This is where admiration can quietly become resentment, not because you harm them, but because they can no longer control the relationship in the same way. And this reveals something uncomfortable about human nature. Some people do not miss you when you change. They miss the access they had to you, the influence they had over you, the version of you that made their life easier. So when they suddenly begin to dislike you, ask yourself, did I actually hurt them? Or did I simply stop playing the role that kept them comfortable? There is one final question most people prefer not to ask. What if you have done this to someone else? It is easy to recognize jealousy, projection, or resentment when we are the target. It is much harder to recognize them in ourselves. Think carefully. Have you ever felt irritated by someone who never actually harmed you? Maybe their confidence seemed arrogant, their success felt undeserved, their independence made them seem cold. Perhaps you found reasons to criticize them, but deep down, something else was happening. They made you feel something you did not want to feel. Comparison, insecurity, the fear of being left behind. Human nature always reveals itself eventually, and none of us are completely immune to these reactions. The difference is whether we notice them. Because the moment you become aware of your resentment, you have a choice. You can turn another person into the enemy, or you can ask yourself the more difficult question: what is this person revealing about me? Sometimes the people who disturb us most are not the ones who have harmed us. They are the ones who accidentally expose something within us that we were not ready to see. So why do people sometimes hate you for no apparent reason? Because you may remind them of what they lack? You may trigger something they are trying to hide? Or you may have stopped playing the role that once made them comfortable. And this is the hidden truth promised at the beginning. Sometimes their hatred is not really about who you are. It is about what happens inside them when you are present. You become a mirror of what they want, what they fear, what they have avoided, or what they can no longer control. But there is something important to remember. Not every person who dislikes you is jealous. Not every criticism is projection. Sometimes we are wrong. Sometimes we hurt people without realizing it. Real self-awareness means being able to consider both possibilities. Ask yourself honestly, did I do something that deserves reflection? And if the answer is no, stop carrying responsibility for emotions that were never yours to fix. With time, you begin to notice that human relationships are often shaped by things that are never spoken aloud. Comparison, insecurity, expectations, invisible roles. And sometimes, the moment you stop being who someone needs you to be, you finally discover how they truly felt about you. If this made you think of someone, share your perspective in the comments. And if you want to keep looking beneath the surface of human behavior, subscribe to Shadow Insight. I am the Watcher, and I will leave you with one question. How many people truly loved who you were, and how many only loved the version of you they could control?